YouTube, what's going on? Here to post another video with you guys. Today's subject matter, as I told you in my last video, I said that I was embarking on a new journey. So far so good. I've been doing, like I said in my last video as well, I've been doing a lot of different reading. I've been watching a lot of different videos, and you know, it's funny how sometimes when you become conscious and you're aware and you take a little fall and then you come back and then you see like so many people have evolved and reached certain plateaus, right? So it's like, it seems like my reinitiation or my rebirth, shall I say, is like, it's like I'm experiencing everything like for the first time, in the sense of, not that I forgot certain informations, but I think what makes it more cool is, at the time that I was going through my first journey, which consisted of a lot of reading, a lot of meditation, open up the chakras. I experienced the Kundalini energy. I can remember at times, man, it was so powerful when I sat down. It felt like I was sitting on a snake. Like you could feel like the energy coil you at the root chakra. So it's like, you know, I felt the crown, and it's just like that opening of the crown and that vortex created, and you connected to the cosmos. It was like, it was amazing. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't have, or should I say, I don't know what it was or the case may be, but like I basically went through the process, and like I didn't have any help. Like I wasn't connected to no type of community or no type of individual. So what I find amazing now is the reconnect with YouTube, and I'm seeing videos of younger people, man, like going through this journey, and they're like, yo, and they're actually explaining stuff in detail, and I'm like, oh wow, so that's what it's called. That's what happened to me. Like I can remember when my navel unraveled, and I can remember like, yo, like just like bugging out when certain things was happening to me, and I just didn't quite understand it. And then just the other day I was watching a video where this guy was like, he was basically like saying like the stomach is the second brain, and he was basing it off of the nerve endings and all of that. Not to say that I agree totally with him on everything, you know what I mean, but it was just nice to hear, or some of the technical terms or some of the philosophies that was associated with experiences that I was experiencing in the past. So I've been like really enjoying that. I do want to say this, right? I had I don't want to call it epiphany, but I had such a mind-blowing experience like 2 weeks ago, right? I was watching a lot of videos on this individual named Oso, right? I don't know if a lot of y'all familiar with it. Controversy, Indian guru. Me personally, I subscribe to a lot of his way of thinking. I just love his train of thought. You know what I'm saying? But I was sitting there, and I was by myself in thought. It was people around me, but I was by myself in thought. And I was just pondering, like, when they talk about, like, you hear terms like living in now, or you hear terms about nirvana, or just being clear, you know what I mean, and just free. And I was just like giving it like, what does that mean to me? Like, how does it resonate with me? Like, what does that mean to me? And I was just like, it just took me to a mind-blowing experience, because then it had me like really like vibing off of freedom. Like, what's actually freedom, right? In the past, I have acquired intellectual freedom, I acquired spiritual freedom, I never acquired economical freedom, right? But it just had me, I was just like, what is freedom? So I got to thinking about it, and I said, wow, it's just like, freedom to me is being able to have a space in your mind that is like nobody else's fingerprint is on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I understand that we live in a world that doesn't want individuals free. It doesn't want people to obtain that free space because, it's like anything else, like space on the earth. Like, it's depending where the location that is property is worth money. You know what I'm saying? And our minds are property too, that people build worlds. They build houses. And their houses are the philosophies of man. You know what I mean? So I guess some people get offended, especially if you were a person that you really wasn't conscious of your mental space, and you just allow people freely to go in there and just construct and just build all types of buildings. Some of it might have been religion. Some of it might have been ways of life. And then once you start going inside and you become a demolition person, basically, you just start tearing down these buildings, which is personal belief systems that people have put on you, then that becomes a problem, because people have invested. We might not know it, but people invested in you not utilizing that space, and they're willing to do a lot of stuff to make sure that you don't do that. So you have to be careful. You have to be conscious in that sense. Me personally, I've been known to be a little crazy myself, so I'm like, I don't really care. But as far as what I mean by I don't really care about the opposition and all that, because it's like, only a coward wouldn't go for freedom. Like, you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's yours. Reclaim your kingdom, reclaim your space. So, it just had me thinking. I said, man, we got so many different layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of people's conscious thought. And we're just underneath all of that. And I was just thinking about the concept of Christ when he talks about, he says, in order to enter heaven, you have to be like a child, right? And I was just thinking, it made me think of the Latin term tabula rasa, where it means is basically like a baby's mind, unimpressionable, no delible marks by mankind, it's just clear. You know what I mean? And then I fused that with other things that I don't read in the past. Like, a lot of people say that when we came to the earth, when the umbilical cord was cut, that we lost information of the world that we really come from. You know what I'm saying? And that our goal was to climb back up and to obtain that level of consciousness. And me personally, I believe that it's that tabula rasa, it's that conscious, it's that nirvana, it's that blowing of the mind, meaning clearing out all of this stuff that's been laid upon you, because that's, at the end of the day, initially, that's what's holding us down, and that's what's causing a lot of confusion, right? And you'll find that once you do that and you start going back and you come back, you might even visit some of these buildings that you tore down in other people's minds, and you get to see it so clear, and you get to see it from a godly perspective. Like, Freemasonry, they had a symbolism with the G in the middle, and they say the G stands for God in geometry, right? But it's funny because it's like, when you come down and you analyze these concepts and these theories, because you're looking at it from a heavenly position, and it's like you see things from a whole totally different angle, and it's mind-blowing. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I used to tell people, like, I love going for walks, right? And I love to look at different neighborhoods that I'm in. It could be an urban environment, it could be an industrial environment, but I love to look at the architectural structure of the buildings and the houses, because it like, now that I'm conscious and I have access to this universe of information, it's like mind-blowing, like, to walk in the community and be like, yo, and you could tell by the signs and symbolisms that's in the building, the shape and the structure of the roofs and things of that nature. You'd be like, oh, these specific quarters was designed for these specific type of people to be here. You know what I'm saying? And then it's even more mind-blowing when you go in urban environments and you see Whereas though people have taken over neighborhoods that probably weren't initially intended for them, right? And I'd be like, wow, if they were free and they were conscious, right, they could look at the structure and the things around them, and they can literally like they could gain success because they could tap into the unseen energies that's still there, because like the concept says, nothing really dies. You know what I mean? Like matter can't be destroyed. Energy can't be destroyed. It just keeps changing in metaphors and changing in different things. So if that's the case in point, that same energy that was put in those establishments where people was living at, if you get on that wave, or if you could climb up and tap into that wave. I give you a prime example, right? Suppose you live in an area where the houses, I might be going a little too far back, but like say the Victorian era, where the houses and the structures where you got the pillar houses and all that, or just say you do research on your house and you say your house is made in the 50s, right? You could benefit so much by just going on the internet and just studying the 50s, study what type of music, play a little bit of the tunes in the house, you know what I mean, just to get more of an understanding of the house and the structure and the magic and the energy that transformed that matter, which is the houses and the communities. And man, that way, maybe you will get a deeper understanding of that unseen flow and that energy. And maybe, I'm just far-fetching, I'm just throwing it out, a lot of us don't fit well or be dying in these situations and dying in these places. Maybe it's because we're not tapped into the original energy or the original flow. So, I mean, it's just something to think about, you know what I mean? But it's just like, man, you have to strive to be free, be clear, you know what I'm saying? And maybe later on there are definitely negative sides to it, you know what I mean, because you got to also understand, when you leave yourself open from top to bottom, you also leave yourself open to certain attacks where people could come in and they can actually attack your chakras or gain mastery over your chakras. And once they do, hence they gain mastery over you. So we have to be extremely careful with that. But for the most part, I say, man, no fear, you know what I mean? Evolve. Just keep evolving and just keep evolving. But I just, it just made me think of, man, what is freedom, man? Like just having free thought, it's empowering in itself, and a lot of people discourage you from that. But I'm glad to see, especially on the YouTube, amongst the YouTube community, to see so many people that are becoming like conscious. Like, it's just a beautiful thing. Like it really is. It's beautiful, and I just hope that, you just continue to teach and continue to keep spreading the love, man, because it's definitely beautiful. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and salute you guys out. I just wanted to tune in and tap in. And, and y'all have a beautiful day, beautiful night, depending on what part of the world you at. And salute.